preparing, so I think we're about there. All right. Well, hello, and thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Patti, and I am the book launch coordinator for NGNG Enterprises. And I'm thrilled to introduce you to CPA and the owner of Insight Tax, and now best-selling author of Profit First for Microgyms, John Briggs. Welcome, John.
Thanks, Patti. Happy to be here.
So we began working on John's book launch. It was about in the fall, early fall of 2019, and Profit First for Microgyms was released on January 7th and became a #1 bestseller on day one. So first of all, congratulations. How does it feel to be a best-selling author?
It doesn't feel real. It's just like, oh, wow, that happened. That's really cool.
Well, will you start off and just tell us a little bit more about what you do and about your business?
Yeah, so I have a tax firm. There are, I don't know, we're about 20 team members at this point, and we focus a lot on serving micro gym owners, which is who the book was written for. But it's really, we provide a cash flow system to our clients and to gym owners that involves using the Profit First system, having good tax strategy, and having good accounting records.
Great. So then you do work with other business owners. You specialize with micro gym owners, but work with other business owners as well.
Yeah. The micro gym focus has only been the last 3 or 4 years, 5 now, actually. Time goes by fast. But we actually, as a firm, have way more clients who are not gym owners than we do that do have gym owners. We just happen to be the accounting firm with the most gym owner clients in the country.
Great. Well, I would definitely recommend John's team to business owners out there. I mean, they are so professional and so much fun to work with. And, you know, maybe not your stereotypical accounting team. So they're a lot of fun. I would think that you guys would make tax time definitely a lot less scary.
We definitely try to alleviate the stress for sure that most people have around taxes. Yeah.
So what inspired you to write Profit First for Microgyms?
Well, I was a Profit First professional, and through the guidance of the organization and Mike McAllowitz, they kind of help you identify your seed clients or your top clients, the ones that you just enjoy working with the most and all that stuff. And we ended up landing on microgym clients. And over the years, as we've helped them implement these systems, we found that the microgym industry is pretty unique from other service-based companies as far as margins, as far as the people they serve and like feedback they give, which is not actually always great. Anyway, so we realized we had to tweak a ton of different things for them. And then, well, honestly, part of the inspiration was when Mike McAllowitz said, hey, any of you who have a niche and are serving with Profit First, you have an opportunity to write a book for them. But it needs to make sense. And so in this case, it totally made sense because everybody had to tweak the original system. But what was interesting is it's almost like I made the decision to write it, and then my inspiration came as I was doing it, like the process of actually writing the book and marketing it through AJ Harper and her top 3 book writing workshop, and then your guys' NGNG system. The inspiration really came afterwards for me, which isn't abnormal. But it really came down to like, why are you writing this book now that you're doing it? What's the one message you want everybody to take away from the book? If it's, you know, hundreds of pages, if they could only took one thing away from it, what would it be? And that became my inspiration once I discovered that I really wanted to share the message that gym owners deserve to be profitable. Because in the gym owner space, there's this weird balance that I don't think gym owners have figured out. They are offering the gift of health, right? And as members come through their doors and they follow the programs of the gym and do the different services that the gym offers, people's family trees change. They lower their body fat percentage, they live longer, they get off medication, like all those things. And then a healthy person then is inspired to then take that message to their own, people in their life. And so there's there's a charitable feel to that type of work just because of the tremendous value they offer. And most of them had a really hard time with this idea of taking money for it. And so if there was a scenario where they could serve and money wasn't going to be given in exchange, they still served. And so I wanted them to understand that even though what they're doing is of a very high noble purpose, they still deserve to be compensated for that and to have money left over for all their efforts.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never really looked at it from a perspective of a gym owner. You really are changing people's lives. And, some people come in and probably have all sorts of health issues and just need to get better and feel better. And how do you turn them away, right? When you can help them and you've got the knowledge to share with them. And oh man, yeah, gosh, I never really looked at it from that perspective. So, what inspired you to reach out to Amber Vilhauer for support with launching your book?
Well, I had found the Author Up Live thing that happened last year, and so I attended that. And with that experience at the back of my mind, which is an amazing experience for any author or wannabe author, as I actually got into, okay, I know how to market for my tax firm. Great. Check. Oh, wait. What we do to market a tax firm is not the same way you have to market a book. Like, okay, all right. Are we going to reinvent the wheel here? How much energy and like brain damage do we want to give ourselves or put into this thing to figure out how to like actually have a successful launch? Because once I discovered this inspiration and the message I wanted to share, all of a sudden it's a no-brainer to want to tell as many people about it as possible. And so it just, I had the Author Up Live workbook on my desk still because I was in the book writing process. And it's like, I'm sitting there like, oh, what are we going to do? How are we going to market this? And then I asked that question to myself and I looked directly at the book and it's like, oh yeah, why don't I just talk to the experts? Why don't I hire the experts to help me? So it really came from a desire of wanting to make sure my message was heard and knowing I didn't have the skill set or know-how on what to even do to get the message out.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. It's we're all experts in what we do. And, interesting, you try to approach something new and you think, gosh, where do I start? What would you say would be your overall experience with the book launch, process altogether? Yeah, I guess what were you kind of nervous going into it? Did you have an idea as far as what would be involved, or maybe what was even most surprising for you?
I mean, it's new. To me, anytime I do something new, I'm always nervous. But you and Amber and the team really make it as unintimidating as possible. And so even during the process, though, it's like, okay, I started this process. There's still the nervousness, like, well, I mean, am I doing this the exact right way? You guys give such clear instructions so that all those fears and anxieties that I have had, I could overcome those just by like, okay, I'm going to follow a checklist. For me, that's easy. Tell me what to do. Great. We will do that. I'm assuming this will work because you guys are the experts, and great. And it did work, obviously. #1 bestseller on the first day we launched. Yeah, so I would say the process was incredibly thorough. I mean, as you know, and Amber jokes as well, maybe a little too thorough for me because of how direct I am. But it was great. I mean, there was never any lacking like, oh, what do I do here? Even if I emailed that, I would get a response with, here are the 3 links to look at. And like all your workflow is like flowing together. And if I'm on one thing, you link it to the other thing where I might have a question about it. I mean, it's incredibly thorough, from the whole process of how you recommend launching your book to the steps on the back end and the emails and suggested templates and the scheduling of when to send those out. I mean, it really was painless.
Well, one thing Amber is really great at, I mean, she knows how to systematize and put programs in a process unlike anyone I've ever met before. I mean, she is just, I don't know, a miracle worker when it comes to that. She is so good and so organized, and yeah, really knows how to put things into just a step-by-step process. But to your credit, John, I mean, you were just so easy to work with, and you were like, just tell me what to do. Tell me what I need to do. And with, your work and the work of your team, I mean, you guys really made it, somewhat easy for us, because there was a lot that we had to get accomplished in just a short amount of time. So let's see, what are you working on now? Is there any sort of post book launch activities you're doing, or seminars or workshops coming up to help, continue promoting evergreen sales of the book?
Yeah, so we are actively looking to get on podcasts still. It's one of the best ways to sell the book is to talk about the book. It's crazy how that works.
Wow, yeah.
I know. We're also, with the book, we've launched 3 kind of at home study courses for the content that's in the book. So in some areas we dive in deeper into the content, because it's funny, you finish the book and then you still have a few months left before it actually is published. And even in that time frame, there were some things I'm like, I probably would have changed that or said that a little bit differently in the book. You create the tools, and as you're creating, at least as I created the tools, I'm like, I feel like this needs an extra video. Anyway, so we have the courses that we're trying to sell in addition to the book. And then what I'm working on now is I'm in the heroic public speaking graduate course, working on some or a keynote that I can then use to go speak, and use part of my keynote in like a 2-day workshop we're wanting to put together, where we can have a gym owner come in and we teach them and have them leave with the system the book teaches implemented after the 2 days. So those are the few things we're working on.
Yeah, that's a really great point, is, to help monetize, in addition to just the book, what sort of courses, can authors, as authors, could you be creating that complement the book, that, really dive deeper into some of the concepts. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. So I have to ask, every time you showed up to a meeting, you always had a fun shirt on. So I see your shirt. I can only see Feed Your.
So it's Feed Your Profit. This is in honor of Mike McCallowton, the original Profit First, because it's a piggy bank that kind of inspired him to implement the Profit First system in his business. But if you look really closely, which it might be hard on the camera, it's not actually lines, they're words. So like smaller plates. So it has some principles from the book, but like the government sucks at spending your money. Size doesn't matter. A little bit of our humor. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I debated if I should wear this one or my hashtag IRS sucks t-shirt. Well,
well, I mean, it is the season, right? We're all going through it right now. Well, okay, so as we wrap up here, any last minute advice, or yeah, I guess just advice you might give to, authors who are working on their books now, perhaps they're in the writing process or preparing to launch their book. Any advice or suggestions you have for them?
I mean, one of the great things you guys taught is that you have to market your book while you're still writing it. And that wasn't, like, in my mind, there were 2 separate things. Like, I'll write the book, I'll finish the book, and then I'll start marketing it. But you actually have to do both at the same time. So I would definitely recommend, wherever the author is at in the process, they need to start marketing their book right now. obviously, it probably, maybe it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think any author's crazy not to hire your company to help them launch the book, just because they're an author. They're an expert in whatever they're writing about. Unless they're writing about how to market book sales, chances are they don't have the expertise or the know-how that your team does. And why struggle through that process? Like for me, writing a book wasn't easy, and that was taking as much energy as I could muster. I didn't need to spend more energy on trying to figure something else out. So having a team and expertise like you guys offered was tremendous. And then I think from the other thing I would say is give yourself more time for your editing window than you're planning on. For me, I don't know how many times most authors read through their books, and I don't know if this number is big or small, but by the time I got to the copy editing stage, I had read through my book about 33 times.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just like, that's a lot of pages, a lot of words, and it's my stuff. And of course, things get lost to us, which is why you hire editors. But I wish I would have put even a little bit more effort into the editing stage. Not that I didn't like give up and throw in the towel and be like, oh, whatever it is, just print it and ship it off. But I think it would have been more beneficial to have a little bit longer window so that I could share my manuscript with trusted people, a handful of trusted people, and get more feedback first. And also, they also see things you don't see as far as like edits and things like this isn't as clear. Anyway, so that's the last piece of advice I'd give as well.
Well, John, I really appreciate your time today and your advice. A couple things for our audience. John did talk a little bit about Author Up Live. We do have an Author Up Live event coming up at the end of March, so March 23rd and 24th. And I believe, John, you are going to be joining us again this year.
I am.
So it's really a great group. It's a group of authors preparing to write their book. Some are thinking about it, some are in the middle of it, some have launched their book. It is with best-selling author Mike Michalowicz and AJ Harper, and of course Amber Vilhauer. So you get a little bit of what it's like to market your book, what it's like to write the book, and you get to hear it from some of the industry's leading experts. So it's really a great event. We're looking for it. We still have a few tickets available. So if you're interested, visit Author Up Live. We'll post the link in the comments. And then finally, one last thing, just a reminder, if you are looking for additional support or information to help launch and leverage your next book, we do have a free course. So it's ambervilhauer.com/book course. And again, we'll post that link in the comments. And sign up, take your free course, and you'll get some additional insights for how to launch and leverage your next book. So I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up for today. Again, John, I really appreciate your time, and to everybody watching, thank you. And happy tax season.
Happy tax season.
Thank you, everyone.